Oh, you? Oh, you enjoy the late night movies on channel 586? Wow, okay. That's what I do. I have no particular skill in it. I just walk up to good, honest, hardworking people like Bob and say, we're from paychecks. I don't have a political bent. I'm not Rush Limbaugh or somebody on the other side of the fence. We have almost 600,000 small businesses who have 9 million employees who we believe are underrepresented. So what I do is I literally go to certain offices, both people who represent this area of the country and other people who are key in processes that are important to us. 3 weeks ago, I was with Senator Baucus's staff in Montana, of all places, where he was giving a conference, and they asked me to be part of it because I had helped their staff understand a few things about how corporations deliver health care to employees. And we do it in a fairly unique way, and we get some recognition for it because we're very big on prevention and wellness for our employees. So they had done that. So I just knock on doors saying, we want to help you help our clients. I'm not there to convince them to do something they don't want to do. Our job is to deliver information about 9 million small business employees and how that might be different when they're going to decide in the next couple of months, Bob, by Christmas, figure, what your health care looks like. Okay? I'm almost at Medicare. What the heck? All right? You're going to have something totally different. Okay? Or maybe totally different. Or maybe not totally different. We don't know yet. And if anybody tells you they know, they're a fool. Okay? But when those few people, 595 people, control your destiny as far as your health care, 595 people. And that doesn't include the president, by the way. He doesn't get a vote. Okay? We know there are certain people. There are 6 people who are the most primary, right? Baucus and the club, the gang of 6. Group of 6. Group of 6, sorry. By the way, that group is from Montana, Wyoming, New Mexico, North Dakota, Maine, and...
Did you say Iowa? Yeah.
Iowa, Grassley, Iowa. Okay, they don't have 20 electoral votes among them, I don't think. 22, maybe. All right? Those 6 people, who are actually pretty bright people, okay, and pretty honest people, they will control your health care for probably the rest of your lives. Very important people. I try to see those people and help them do their job. And actually, have any of you ever been in the halls of Congress? Senate building? You know, it's your building. You just walk in there. You really should. Okay? A lot of hard-working, honest, good, capable people. Maybe not all of them, but most of them are very good, honest, hard-working people. They will want to hear you. So it's your building. Go down there sometime. Walk in, listen to what they're doing. Talk with your congressman or senator. It's a fascinating place. It's your place. Last but not least, most and least, actually it's a spin-off of there. I actually enjoy government affairs probably the most. The other thing I enjoy the most about my job is I'm chiefly responsible for hiring people, training them, fixing their problems, a whole bunch of things like that. Probably the most enjoyable is now that I've been there 15 years, seeing somebody that I helped to hire 15 years ago, train, develop through our training center, get promoted to become a director or a vice president. And that man or woman that I knew as a fairly young man or woman is now 35. They probably got a family, and they just got promoted to director. They're making a lot of money. They're in charge of a lot of people probably. They're very successful in their career and hopefully very successful in their lives. For what I do, that's probably what I enjoy the most, that and the government affairs. Partly because it's fascinating what happens in Washington. And by the way, you've got a tremendous asset. If you really want to know how this country works, see that guy that introduced me, okay? He knows how it really works. By the way, what they say is the 2 things you don't ever want to see made are legislation and sausage. I'll let Bob explain why that's true. All right? The least, though, is the flip side of the government. I also get stuck, unfortunately, with responding to a great many of the new laws and regulations, and I won't go into detail. I now spend, it used to be about 3% of my time, responding via lawyers, accountants, consultants, whatever, just sending in massive... Think of, what's the longest paper you've ever done? Did you enjoy it? No, right? Okay. Just think that I have to write lots of those. And most of them get sent to Washington in a pile for some person in a back room to read. They have no earthly advantage to our company, to our shareholders, to our clients, to anybody but some bureaucrat that made up some rule that I have to send something in for. That's now about 30 or 40% of my job. By the way, that's wasting your time and money too, and your taxes. So that's probably the least thing I like. With that, I hopefully have answered the questions that you might have found meaningful or important. I think we've got a couple more minutes left, and I'll take any questions you might have, and then let you go. How many are going to the concert tonight? If I had known I'd be there. So I wish you a good time tonight. Any questions? Yes, sir.
When do you think is the right moment to move from like a company of one single owner to like a franchise? Did it start like that?
Yeah, what's the right time to move from one single owner to a franchise? Do you mean if you're the business owner to franchise out? Boy, it takes a lot more than you might think. It takes a lot of lawyers, unfortunately, because you got to protect your idea, okay, and you want to get a copyright or a patent on something, and you want to do it carefully. So you want to get a trust. The second one is very important. Going from 1 to 2 is a huge step, okay? Going from 2 to 10 is about the same as going from 1 to 2. And then going from 10 to 100 is about the same as going from 2 to 10. So the first person that helps you go from one physical location is extremely important. Then the next 4 or 5. And the most important thing, and the when, is when you can find the right people that you trust to take your idea and grow it. Because once it's not you physically there, you have to trust that the other person has all the understanding you do, and frankly the same values that you do, and a lot of other things, or else they will kind of pollute your idea. They will take it to the left or right of where you want to be. So the when is probably controlled by when you can find the people to help you carry the idea. You also have to have the money, but I'll tell you, money, even in today, it's easier to get money to expand than it is to get people.
So it's better for you to open the second one yourself?
Yeah, and then it's just how much can you stretch yourself. At a certain point, you can only run so many locations. But if you did, the good news is when you find that right partner, whoever that is, okay, sometimes it's a friend, sometimes it's a spouse, sometimes it's somebody you never even knew until you run across one another in a business setting. And I can tell you that in our business there was a combination that made Paychecks go from one location, essentially 1 or 2 people, to 100 locations and $2 billion. And it was a combination of a couple of close friends of Tom's and 3 people that he didn't even know till he met them. But his judgment picked the right people. So it's much more the people to help you than it is the money or the lawyers. And that comes back to kind of a judgment, and you just got to be real careful. But, it's kind of, I hate to say it, but it's kind of when you feel it's right, it's right. That's a dumb answer, I know, but it's probably a better answer than a whole 16 chapters in some management book, to tell you the truth. So, yes, ma'am.
Have Paychecks experienced any competition from foreign outsourcing?
Well, first of all, we're almost entirely in the U.S. We have 4 small branches in Germany. But when you say foreign outsourcing, you mean like competitors getting offshore people to do their work?
Yeah, like in India.
No. A couple of companies have tried that, and it hasn't worked. Offshoring in our industry has been kind of a dismal failure. I'm not so sure exactly why. We actually tried a little bit in our information technology group, and payroll law is so, it's like a rat's nest. I mean, there's so many little laws and this and that a lot of it doesn't translate well, and I think that's part of it. So, and there's not a lot of real advantage. Usually when you ship work off, you're getting workers to do stuff for, you know, pennies on a dollar. Some companies have moved client service work to particularly Brazil and India. Brazil's now bigger than India. But by the way, the dirty little secret is a lot of outsourced work is coming back. Okay, GE has just brought it back. What's the $100 hair curler that some of you may have? Chic or something like that? Not chic like men, but Che. Yeah, thank you very much. See, I knew somebody would have it. They cost $100 or something like that? I obviously don't. Believe me, okay? They just moved their production back to Texas because the differential they were finding by shipping work overseas, where the labor cost was in the beginning low, but the remanufacturing rate, let alone the shipping cost, whatever, made the difference about 4%. And when they got to that point, they said, let's find a low-cost place in Texas to do it. Okay? And that's finding that true in the service industry, too. When was the last time you called because your HP printer went down? Anybody? Your HPs work better than mine? Oh, man, I'll tell you. The last one I got, the guy says, oh, yes, I'm with the Seattle office. And I finally broke him down. He was in Bangalore, of course, okay? You know, and I do that with every service center. I like to find out where they're really from and the like nature of the beast. He really didn't help me very much. And it was probably as much my fault as his, but there was a major communication problem, okay? So outsourcing, in spite of what the news magazines like to say, and what a lot of, by the way, business people, because they would look at the surface of the deal and say, I can save this money. A lot of CFOs forced other people into bad decisions about outsourcing. They're starting to come back. Not that we aren't in a global mix now, which is great, and I used to work for a company that was in 200 countries, and it worked well. But some of that's coming back, and we haven't had a problem with it. Yes, sir?